While we're checking the horizon for the new Sims, Automobilista 2 dropped an immense amount of content in an immense update. Today's video is dedicated to the memory of Tchéky Karyo, one of these actors you never remembered the name of, but you watched even in crappy movies because you knew he was going to deliver excellent work. Tchéky, thanks for your art. Greetings Romy, you're watching WromWrom, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing and a regular news roundup or weekly sim racing news. My name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. How are you enjoying our videos from the Sim Racing Expo? We still have a couple more for you with, as always, interesting insights. Meanwhile, we're gearing up for a lot of releases coming our way. Rennsport on November 13th, AC Rally on the same date, and Project Motor Racing on November 25th. In the meantime, Reiza dropped an extensive update including two very interesting DLCs all around the year 2005 it seems. We'll tell you more in a minute or two. We are in an unsurprising sideways motion with regards to the usage numbers of our beloved Sims, and still 5,000 daily users more than last year. Of notice how RaceRoom rose in usage in October and the catastrophic drop of Lemma Ultimate by 1 full daily average user. I confess, it was me. I was occupied preparing the Sim Racing Expo. On the real loser side, Wreckfest 2 loses almost 100 daily users compared to the month before and is now for the first time on double digits since its release. No wonder, as there is most nothing happening there. No there. And we will need to make some room in this list for the next 3 titles dropping in November. I mean, we've been following Rennsport's usage numbers, but not publishing them for the time being. We'll have a deep conversation in how to deal with the list in the future to not have it be too cramped. On the other hand, it's a good sign for our hobby to have that many Sims to choose from. Moza have released 2 new direct drive wheelbases of 21 and 25 peak Newton-meter respectively, and if we're talking Moza, let's say hi to our flight sim friends, because as you can see they also dropped a HOTAS flight stick as well as a throttle, which both look good. Back to the bases. The lights at the side will give you telemetry feedback including ABS, gear shifts and flag signals, but does anyone look at the base while driving? The aluminium encased bases will cost $700 USD or 800 euro for the 21 Newton meter base and 900 USD or 1000 euro for the 25 Newton meter base. Japanese Driftmaster has brought the Hyundai Insteroid into the game, an electric concept vehicle. But if it drives like my Hyundai Ioniq 4 EV drove, you should avoid it like the plague. On the other hand, this is a game, make-believe, so I suppose it'll work well. The Insteroid is part of a new side mission campaign in which you'll drive against the Hyundai Inster and the Ioniq 5. Recreation from the company that brought you Burnout is out now for PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series XS for 40 euro USD. The game's an open-world arcade racing game where you can make your own tracks and just have fun driving around and maybe creating some mayhem. Euro Truck Simulator 2 will include Ireland in their map, but no date or price have been communicated. And yes, it's the whole island, don't get political. And while we're at it, American Truck Simulator expands to Canada, announcing British Columbia as their next DLC. And I could make some jokes about transporting poutine or hockey players, but that's rather too easy, innit? Project Motor Racing will bring Sebring and the Porsche 962C. RaceRoom has rolled out a new update tackling some behind-the-scenes issues that have been causing headaches for players. The developers have addressed crashes related to the game's particle effects system, all those sparks and smoke effects, and they've also added an option to turn particle details completely off, which should help if your PC has been struggling. Crashes related to car setups have also been fixed, along with issues in multiplayer, leaderboards and single-player events. The developers describe many of these as plausible fixes, which is refreshingly honest. They're pretty sure they've nailed the problems, but they're not making promises. On the AI front, the update fixes a quirky bug where AI cars could be seen crawling backwards on track while trying to rejoin after an incident. There was also an old overlay that would incorrectly appear when a remote car got disqualified. That's been cleaned up too. Physics updates have landed for the DTM 13 to 16 and DTM 2020 cars, with the 2020 version getting reduced anti-squat and a fine-tuned base setup. The kind of technical adjustments that sound impressive but basically mean the car should handle a bit better. The Formula RaceRoom Junior also got a physics refresh. The visual cleanup list is extensive. BMWs got updated, windshields, textures and shadow issues fixed. The Canard cars, flickering tail lights and textures. Texture updates for Ferraris 488, the Nissan R90CK and the Porsche 962C, as well as the Formula RaceRoom 3. The Formula RaceRoom 90 got more specific work. Wishbone locator adjustments, mirror dirt map updates and backfire timing tweaks. The Honda Accord ST got a few more polygons added to its dashboard and air vent. The Audi RS3 TCR and Opel Astra TCR both received texture and UV fixes, and the Volvo 850 ST got updated window stickers. Even the safety car Cupra TCR wasn't forgotten, with its strobe light now working properly. Track fixes include the Ungaro Ring, which was missing its low-quality audience models on lower settings, because even virtual crowds deserve to be seen, and Monza, where the runoff stripes were experiencing some unwanted blooming effects. The update also addresses penalty calculations, particularly after reports that players were getting away with cutting through Daytona's bus stop chicane without enough consequences. The game now better accounts for the speed advantage you carry into the following banked corner, so no more free passes. Finally, AI pace in the DTM 13 to 16 cars has been improved compared to the player, which hopefully means they'll put up a better fight on track. Overall, a solid maintenance update. Automobilista 2 has dropped its 1.6.8.5 update, and it's a hefty one. The big attraction is a trip to 2005 with 2 new DLC packs focused on endurance racing, and as always there's a free trial weekend for the DLC content, so everyone can take it for a spin before committing. The Historical Endurance Pack Part 1 brings a substantial lineup of 2005 era racers across multiple classes. LMP1 gets the Audi R8, Courage C60 and Dallara SP1, while LMP2 adds 2 Lola B0540 variants, one with a V8, one turbocharged. The GT1 class is particularly well stocked, with the Aston Martin DBR9, Corvette C5R, Dodge Viper GTSR and the Maserati MC12. Rounding things out are a Porsche 996 RSR for GT2 and a BMW M3 GTR from the 2004 GTR class. There's also a free Milano GT36 GT2 added to the base sim for everyone. The Historical Track Pack Part 3 DLC brings period-accurate versions of classic circuits: Circuit de Mans 2005, Road Atlanta 2005 with full and short layouts, and Spa-Francorchamps 2005 in both GP and endurance configurations. The developers have also added presets emulating FIA GT seasons from 2004 and 2005, plus ALMS and ELMS 2005 seasons. And if you're thinking, but 2005 was like yesterday, and then realizing it's 20 years ago already, welcome to the club. On the technical side, temporal anti-aliasing has been added as a new graphics option. It works by blending previous frames with the current one to smooth out jagged edges, and the developers claim it can provide better performance than the traditional MSAA approach in some cases. There's also a sharpening slider to go with it. An LOD fade setting that was causing flickering shadows in VR and triple screen setups has been fixed, which should make those configurations more pleasant to use. Endurance cars have gotten updated headlight effects for nighttime racing with a slightly stronger glare because racing at night wasn't challenging enough already. This applies to current era GTP, LMP2, GTE and GT3 cars as well as the new 2005 editions. The setup system has received attention with several fixes for the ongoing autosave and autoload issues. The game now prevents you from deleting your currently active setup. There was also a bug that could cause gear ratios to be incorrect in default setups that's been sorted out. Track tabs on the setup load save menus have been disabled to fix an issue where your tuning changes could be ignored if you'd previously saved a setup to a specific tracks tab. Real weather detection is now more reliable, fixing an issue where it wouldn't be found on the first try if your system clock was running ahead. The AI has received what Reiza describes as extensive calibrations. They've reworked how AI drivers apply throttle based on various circumstances, which should make their corner exit performance more balanced against human players. The changes also aim to reduce twitchy behavior when AI cars change lines, tone down aggressive throttle application in faster corners and reduce the dreaded rubber banding effect where AI cars ping-pong back and forth in positions. AI traction and braking have been made more balanced with what's actually viable for human drivers, and drafting behavior has been adjusted to be more realistic both relative to the player and between AI cars themselves. The aggression settings themselves have been tweaked to make each level more distinct. Medium and high are now the recommended sweet spots for most racing, with medium better suited for longer races, endurance events or heavier cars, while high works better for sprint races, formulas and club level racing. Low is suggested mainly for newcomers or controller users who need more limited precision, as it makes AI very careful around the player. Max aggression may increase pile-up risks and erratic behavior across the whole field. Medium and high settings will still feature some individual AI drivers with higher aggression, which should make for more dynamic races overall. The AI should also now qualify more realistically when you skip or don't run a full qualifying session. The developers removed a randomizing function that was putting slower drivers higher up the grid and contributing to clusters of cars bunching up. AI drivers in practice and qualifying sessions now use more of the race blue flag logic, letting them navigate slower traffic more efficiently. AI mistake frequency has been increased overall, though the severity still varies by series and driver personality. You'll see fewer mistakes in upper racing classes compared to club or amateur levels. AI in multiplayer has been substantially improved, fixing visual issues where cars would appear to move sideways or have their front wheels pointing in the wrong direction. AI calibration passes were run for numerous classes and track combinations, and various tracks received AI corridor adjustments. See the link in a description for the complete list of changes. AI differential settings were adjusted for all cars with limited slip differentials, adding slightly more power and coast look. AI peak slip angles were adjusted for all touring car classes, and their willingness to concede when being overtaken from the inside was slightly increased. Physics updates have hit numerous classes with the classic minor tire tread adjustments across the board, with tire thermodynamics being tweaked for the Lamborghini Miura, Ginetta G55 Super Cup and both Ligier models. GT3, both generations, GT1, Group C, BMW M1 Pro Car and LMDH GTP got the most significant changes, with revised default setups and updated setup ranges. The developers warn that old setups for these classes probably won't work correctly anymore, so it's best to start fresh. Force feedback for GT1 cars has also been revised. Dirty ear effects have been adjusted for modern formulas, GTs and prototypes. Several cars got specific attention. The Ligier JS2R received front-end aero adjustments along with tweaks to its anti-roll bar and front brake torque. The Lotus 23 had its tread width corrected and chassis polar moment of inertia revised. Group A cars got chassis polar moment adjustments, and the Diablo and Miura's V12 engine had crankshaft mass adjusted. Chassis polar moment of inertia. I never thought I'd say these words together. The Lamborghini Revuelto got improved active aero behavior, adjusted peak torque from its hybrid system, and gained an ERS EV launch feature with the internal combustion engine now kicks in at 60 km/h. The Miura received extensive work including adjusted pushrod geometries, revised bump stop springs and damper rates, adjusted brake torque and bias, and the aforementioned crankshaft mass changes. On the vehicle side, cockpit viewpoints have been revised to a corrected standard for a lot of cars including the Copa truck. A glass cracks texture has been added across the board, and cockpit gear shifting animation timing was adjusted for GT1 and Group C cars. The Lamborghini Miura got a particularly thorough makeover with new paint materials featuring orange peel texture, extra dirt and metallic flakes. It has a new pop-up light, glass material, new light textures and improved cockpit with customizable leather and stitching colors, updated gauge glow textures and a smoothed gauge cluster. Livery override support was added for custom paints, vinyls and interior configurations. All LMDH GTP cars had number plate Z fighting fix, extra dirt added to exterior materials and increased front light glow size and brightness. All LMP2 cars received similar fixes for number plates and dirt, plus increased light glows and updated paint materials. And all GTE cars got increased front light glows and brightness, plus number plate Z fighting fixes. Bathurst's historic 1983 had its trackside crowd distribution adjusted, Le Mans received updated foliage and ground materials and textures, raised brightness slightly and got new curb and raceline textures. And lastly, a few UI improvements round things out. Vehicle logo graphics have been updated, real weather status feedback text has been reinstated on race and session settings, and the default setup description has been blanked out. Controller support was expanded with profiles added for the Logitech RS50. Live track mud dirt properties have been adjusted, and there's a fix for dialogue staying open when the menu closes automatically, like when the last player hits ready in multiplayer. If you run into issues with a new update or have an imminent leak raised, you can roll back to the previous 1681 version through Steam's beta branch system. And if you don't want to miss any news, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow, as does becoming a patron.